Hope all is well with you. My name is David Jonsson. I'm the founder of World Volunteer, which is an organization that has been working with Hua International School for a number of years. This year we're doing things a bit differently, given the challenging sort of circumstances around the world. We have been allowed to run trips individually with the students, but not through the school. So today I'm going to present a few options of trips that we run in the region that you are able to sign up on individually directly with us. So basically today we'll be sort of talking about the trip options. There is one trip in Malaysia, and there's two different programs in Thailand that you're able to sign up to. We're going to talk a little bit about the sign-up process, the deadline, what the confirmation of the trip will look like, as far as sort of prices and how many participants we need in order to sign up. So that's essentially what I'll be briefing you on today. Like I mentioned, we've worked extensively with Hua for a number of years and have ran very successful trips, very successful CAFS trips. But like I mentioned, this year we're doing it individually with students who are keen to join. The trips are also open to your families. If your parents want to join or siblings want to join, that's also a possibility. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the different trip options. So the first one is based here in Malaysia. It's actually where I am, where I live. I live in Kuala Lumpur, and the trip will take place in Taman Niagara National Park, which is in a city close to, which is called Marapo. So this place is known for its amazing nature, its jungle, its caves, its adventures. So this is where we're going to spend the vast majority of our time. It is, like you see in the pictures, it's known for its caves, great jungle, great hiking opportunities, and just an awesome time to spend outdoors. We run the itinerary for this project will basically look like you arrive in Kuala Lumpur on the 17th of May. We go on a bus up to Guamusang, which is the area where we'll be working. We'll do some team building projects during that day, some project orientation. The next day we're going to work directly in the Songhai Wildlife Reserve. We're going to do a lot of tree planting. We're going to do work on biodiversity projects. So that's where we're basically going to focus most of our time. On the way back to KL, we're going to visit a elephant conservation center, which is a really awesome initiative, about an hour and a half outside KL, sort of on our way back. And then we spent the last night here in town before flying back to Singapore on the 22nd. So that's basically the structure and the itinerary for the Malaysia trip. The focus on this is environmental conservation and sort of working in the rainforest during our time up in Marapo. The next program is in Chiang Mai, which we are in the process of building a community center outside of Chiang Mai. It's about a 2.5 hour drive outside Chiang Mai. Northern Thailand is a beautiful part of the world. It's a destination that Hua has gone to many times before and worked on this particular project. So this is the state of the community center right now. So it's an Adobe-based center. We work with a environmentally friendly building technique to get this structure off the ground. It'll be used as partially as a library, partially as a learning center for this village. So the itinerary basically looks like we will arrive in Chiang Mai on the 16th of May. We'll have the first day in Chiang Mai, just sort of settle in, get an orientation, visit the night market. And on the 17th and 18th, we have a lot of primarily project work out in the village. We'll also do some cultural events in the evening. We visit the local school and do a bit of permaculture activities, which is also sort of promoting biodiversity in this area. On the way back, on the sort of the tail end of the trip, we'll also visit an elephant conservation center, similar to what we do in Malaysia, and then we wrap up the trip on the 21st with a flight back to Singapore. The last trip is another trip that is going to be based in Thailand. It's in the islands of Koh Samui and Koh Tao. So obviously this is a destination known for its marine wildlife and its awesome beaches and really great outdoor activities. The main project that we're working on is artificial reefs. So we're putting in structures to essentially help regrow reefs that are dying or in risk of dying or bleaching. So there's also going to be a bit of beach cleanups and other initiatives related to marine conservation. The itinerary basically looks like we arrive on the 17th in Koh Samui and take a ferry out to Koh Tao on the 18th. We'll do a project orientation, beach cleanup, work on these reef structures, do a bit of snorkeling, and have a really awesome time on Koh Tao before going back to Koh Samui. We have some cooking classes, some other sightseeing in Koh Samui before departing back on the 22nd to Singapore. So all these trips are sort of subject to flight availability, border restrictions at this point. So when you sign the contract of these trips, that essentially signals that you're game to go on the trip. But there's still, we still sort of have to be in a bit of a wait and see mode in order to know if they're actually going to happen or not. We believe that they're going to happen, otherwise we wouldn't have offered them. As we see that, end of May is still quite a ways away for borders to likely open up and flights to become available. But we're not certain that would happen given the uncertainty of COVID. So trips only happens if participants or students are able to take a PCR test in Singapore prior to traveling, that being the only restriction. So if there's any quarantine that's required in order for us to enter a country, we're essentially going to cancel the trip. We also have to have enough students sign up for the trip in order for the trip to run. So it'll be 15 students for each trip. So if the trip doesn't meet 15 participants, we're going to have to probably cancel that experience or that trip. So in order for you to get involved in any of these CAS trips, we need you to sign essentially a contract together with your parents that you're going on one of these trips, and you need to have that submitted to me, to my email address, which is david@world-volunteer.com, before the 15th of March. So the application is pretty much straightforward. You can also choose whether you're interested in one trip or potentially all of these trips, depending on if they go or not. And you can also WhatsApp me at +60 17 627 1573 if you have any sort of questions that you want to discuss with me personally. The prices currently has a range to them, given that we're not sure of what the flight prices are going to be. So essentially, when you sign up to the trip, you need to be aware that for example, Thailand Marine Conservation trip can be anywhere between 2,200 Singapore dollar to 2,350 Singapore dollars. So here you see all the prices and the flights. So this includes flights, insurance, all program activities, all program all the staff, all the leadership, in order for you to get on the trip. What's not included is PCR tests prior to departure and transfer to Changi Airport, sort of to and from your home destination. So that's something you're gonna have to figure out yourself if you're deciding to join. So that's pretty much, so all of the trips have further description on them that is available and that we can send out. And I think there's also a couple of trips that are trip programs that you can flip through that Sharon has been kind enough to hopefully print out. So that's essentially how you can access more information about the trips. So what you do now is, look through these folders and see if any of these trips are interesting to you. Give this sign this contract saying that you're willing and intending to go on the trip. Get in touch with me to submit that information, and then we just have to cross our fingers in order to see if we're able to run it or not. But I hope this was a helpful first session and gave you a bit of an appetite for what trips that are available, hopefully here in a few months. And look forward to be in touch and hopefully see you guys on one of these trips. Have a good afternoon.